In this video, let's talk about the difference between should, must, and have to. This is a lesson that's been requested by many students, and I know this is a confusing topic, so I'm happy to make this very clear for you. Of course, my name's Jennifer from jforrestenglish.com, and this channel is dedicated to helping you sound like a fluent, confident, natural English speaker. Now, before we go any further, make sure you subscribe and hit that bell icon so you're notified every time I post a new lesson. Now, let's dive in with this video. Let's talk about the difference between should, must, and have to. Now, all three of these are modal verbs, and we use them to talk about obligation or to give advice. First, let's talk about should. We use should to give advice or opinion or a recommendation. So keep in mind, should is not an obligation. So let's think of a scenario where you could give advice, an opinion, or a recommendation. Let's say your friend calls you and says, I feel overwhelmed at work. So your friend's in a negative situation and you want to give some advice, an opinion, or recommendation. You can use should. You can reply back and say, you should talk to your boss. Now let's take a look at the structure. We need should and a base verb. The base verb is simply the infinitive without to. You should talk. You should talk to your boss. I could use a negative and I could say you shouldn't take on any more work. Or maybe I could give her some advice or my recommendation, my opinion, and say you should ask a colleague for help. Now it's your turn to practice this structure. Let's say I call you and I say, I have a really bad headache. What's some advice, a recommendation, or an opinion you can share with me using should or shouldn't? And remember, you need your base verb. So put your example in the comments now. Now let's talk about must. Must is used for obligation. For example, you must finish the report by 5 o'clock. I have no option. I must finish the report by 5 o'clock. It's an obligation. Now let's take a look at the structure. We use must with a base verb. You must finish. You must finish the report by 5 o'clock. I might get an email from the government that says you must file your taxes by the end of the month. Or to apply for a job, they might tell me you must submit your application online. So now it's your turn to practice. I want you to leave an example in the comments using must. And remember, it's an obligation and you